Hello and good afternoon to another video from MoreBikes, and today we're going to be looking at fitting the Tutoro automatic chain oiler. So over the last few days I've had a good read of the manual, which I think is essential if you want to fit this correctly and you want it to work to its optimum capacity. So what we have been doing for the last 10-15 minutes is looking at a couple of critical factors, which is where is it going to be installed on the motorcycle and how will it attach to that location. We must avoid areas that are going to get the product hot, such as anywhere near the exhaust header or anything like that, and we must also attach it to a nice solid area and not the swinging arm. So we think we found the ideal place for it. So here's where we're going to put the fit for the Tutoro auto oiler. Clearly the sprocket area here is where we need to fit the pipes to drip out the oil, and luckily behind the foot peg here there's a bolt. It's actually, if I can just get underneath here, it's attached to this framework here, which is for said panniers. So the bolt on the other side of that, I think, is going to be the perfect place to install a bracket to keep the Tutoro Auto dispensing chamber upright. What we'll do now, we'll pop off the old pannier. Nice and easy, giving us a better access to the bike to crack on. You can see here the trusty 12mm spanner is already in place on a bolt on the other side of the foot peg, and this is the bolt that attaches the framework that you can see here that holds the pannier in place, and I reckon that's going to be the perfect place to use one of the attachments to fit the Tutoro Auto in place. I think the Tutoro Profix bolt bracket is going to be the one that we use. So let's get it in place, see how it looks. So this is the Profit bracket in place, and what I think I'm going to do, although that sits there very nicely, as you can see, it's a little bit close to pillion foot action here. So what I'm going to do is, they give you plenty of attachments, bits and pieces. So what I've done here is use the Multifit bracket set to just bolt on an extra little bracket here, as you can see, to give this a bit of clearance from the pillion foot. And I think now, if we offer up the dispenser, that is going to sit very nicely in that position here. Plenty of clearance away from the old feet here, and enough room for me to take lid off and top up. So let's get that in place. Right, so I've just popped my trusty pillion Tom onto the bike here. Not the usual gear that Tom wears on the bike, I hasten to add. What I wanted to make sure was the fitting of the Tutoro oiler was not going to interfere, or should I say the pillion was not going to interfere with the Tutoro oiler. Now Tom has said that his legs are right against the seat and he can move his feet about and it's not going to interfere with the device, which is great. Okay, we're now going to start to fit the hose to bring the oil from the dispenser down to the sprocket and the chain, and we are going to be using this shark fin connector here. So this needs to go onto the swinging arm, but unfortunately on the bike we've got this little bit of kit here, so I'm not quite sure what this is. No doubt somebody might enlighten me, but it is preventing me from fitting this exactly where I want it. So we're going to figure it out what to do with it. There we go, the shark fin is in place, ready to receive the hose and nozzle. So now I'm going to do a test fit of the hose and nozzle. That's connected to the swinging arm, and the plan is here for the hose to go off the bottom of the shark fin down to the sprocket just above, obviously, where the chain is. So here we go. We have offered up and now fitted the hose to the shark fin with the nozzle in the end, and that is just going onto the correct place on the sprocket to drip the oil down, and the centrifugal force takes it around the chain and so on. So we've made sure that we have fitted cable ties into the holes here to secure the hose in place, and we've got the swinging arm, the shark fin on the left hand side of the swinging arm as far as we can, nearest to the sprocket. The next thing we've got to do is to get the hose in place to the dispenser, which is up there, and it's still raining. Right, we're nearly there. The nozzle is ready for action. The shark fin is cable tied in place. The hose is cable tied along the swinging arm, and forget the piece of hose in the middle of the camera. The hose then goes up, and it needs to be connected to a rigid part of the bike, not the swinging arm that's moving up and down, before it goes into the dispenser, because what we don't want is the swinging arm action to pull the hose out of the connector of the dispenser. Even it's the rain that's got to my brain. Okay, so here, just neatly behind here, we have the pipe, so you can't see, it goes past here and it comes out again down here and then goes along. You can see this, there we go, along down there like so. So all we have to do now is connect this up to the dispenser. Panniers are back on. We have a Tutoro auto chain oiler, nice neat installation, and it's time now to fill her up. So we whip the top off, and fill level on the other side of this is just about where my finger is. So we're going to fill her up now. We filled it up to the maximum level, quite a satisfying blue colour, as you can see there. So now we have to rotate the flow control valve 4 turns anti-clockwise to open it to the priming position, and then replace the cap. So we'll do that. So this should be fairly cool. We have got to use the magnet here and pop it on top, and then we should watch the fluid, the oil, go down the pipes and appear down here at the nozzle. Once the oil starts dripping out of the nozzle, we have to remove said magnet. So let's give it a whirl, see what happens. And there we can clearly see the oil making its way down the tube, heading towards my chain and sprocket. So I'm going to turn it off now until we get to this part here, but it's going to be fun watching it, quite satisfying, coming down here, as you can see. My bike's so dirty, never mind. Okay, it's always that moment when you think you've done something wrong, and all of a sudden it appears and it's heading towards the nozzle. So I've done something right. As Jeremy Clarkson would say, I've done a thing. It's on its way. That's actually really cool. I like that. Magnet perched on top, oil on its way to lubricate my chain. I'm going to keep rolling because we're getting there, and I've got to whip that magnet off as soon as she comes out. It's down the home straight into the, it's not a hairpin actually, Craner's curves. Go on. Here she comes. Standing by with the magnet to whip it off. Edging through the nozzle, here we go. And that is making its way down towards my chain. So magnet's off and it has stopped dripping, which is fantastic. So now we have to return the flow control valve to the off position by rotating it 4 times clockwise. So we'll do that. So now it's just a case of opening the flow control valve a half a turn counterclockwise to set the initial flow rate. There are settings for summer and winter, and we now need to go for a short test ride, and we can make adjustments using this until we get the flow spot on. So that's this video done. The next one, we're going to get a camera and we're going to hopefully watch this working. If we can rig one up, we shall see.